What is up, guys? It's Brillymister here, and welcome to my personal top 5 things that I would like to see implemented in 2020. If you do enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you're notified of all my future content, and in the description down below there are links to Twitch and Discord if you want to follow or join on any of those platforms. So let's get into this. I know I'm a little bit late to the party with the whole top 5 things, or things for 2020, as we are already 12 days in now, so I'm a little bit late to the party, but I still thought I'd like to share with you guys what I personally think as my top 5 things that will help in 2020, or I would like to see implemented into the game. So in the 5th spot is pay to win, basically controlling Treasure Hunter, because they did have this whole thing about it not too long ago where it all went to Parliament and they checked it all out, and because it was gambling or underage gambling or something. But I know that we do need it in some way for the game to be able to survive, as it does bring a lot of money into the game, like IRL money for Jagex to be able to survive. So they do need it in some way, but I would like them to tone it back a little bit, reduce how powerful the events are and how frequent they are. Focus maybe more on like the consumables, like the Fashionscape stuff, all that kind of thing. Things that people like that, or pets and things that you can get on there. Things that people like. I personally don't really mind about the Fashionscape or anything like that. But some people do like that. Something that I would quite like to see added to it if they are going to do these promotions is stuff that's actually useful to people but not directly impacting on like bringing GP or mad amounts of XP into the game. So maybe adding like bank boosters, or like the extra presets and stuff like that. Maybe even extra action bars, to like the rare slots and the very rare slots on these events, rather than it just being mad amounts of XP or big GP items. I think that'd be a really cool idea, and it'd be something, it just unlocks something for your account which is helpful, useful, isn't basically just something you're not going to use like some kind of cosmetic token, but it also doesn't bring 10 mil into the game, or suddenly give you 400k XP for your 4 daily spins or anything. And I think that would still encourage people to buy spins. Like if you're going to be getting, say, bank boosters, you'd have to pay for them anyway, so you might as well give it a go on the spin. So I think that'd be a better way of doing it. So moving up to 4th place on the list, and I don't know if this is something that's going to apply to other people that they want this implemented, like the Treasure Hunter. I think that applies to most people, but I think that it is time now to push the weapons up to like tier 94 or probably tier 95. I'm not sure what they would push it to, but I'd like to see them pushed up a bit. Tier 92s have ruled it, have been all the leading weaponry for a while now. They've started bringing out the tier 92 armors, so they're a bit fresher. So I think weapons are the one that I would rather see pushed to like tier 94 and tier 95. But they could bring armors as well, and they have got a very good opportunity this year to be able to do it, and we'll be discussing it as one of the later things in the video, and that is with the implementation of God Wars Dungeon 3. Yeah, there's nothing else really I can say about this other than I would like to see them personally. They would make every other boss a bit easier, but God Wars Dungeon 3 could be harder again, so it's like that power creep. You bring out harder bosses, you bring out better weapons with them, so older content becomes easier. So I'd like them to bring out the next sort of tier of weaponry and armor, would be one that I would like to see this year. In 3rd place is another one that I'm not really sure if it is going to happen or anything along those lines. Like, as far as I'm aware, Jagex hasn't said anything about this even being considered or anything like that. But that is either a rework of another skill, like one of the ones that's really, really horrible, like reworking construction or something like that. That would be a nice one to rework. Or bringing another skill up to level 120. Or you could maybe even combine the two. So, if it does happen, 120 construction with a rework, that could happen. I could see that happen, that's believable. But, my other suggestions I thought would be prayer or summoning to 120. So it's another combat related one. But I think they're the ones that you would be able to have, like, even if you don't have content all the way to 120 now, it opens up a lot of future expandability. So, like, I don't know, we can go back to the weapons almost. So, like, they used to go, like, tier 70 straight to tier 80 with the Chaotix, and then to tier 90 with the Drygors and stuff when it came out, and they've had to slow it down to tier 92 and stuff so it doesn't end up running out of levels. So, like, I reckon that eventually they're going to have to make 120 in all the combat stats, to be honest, eventually. But quite far down the line. But if they unlocked summoning and prayer to 120, it's just some more, you know, they unlock some more space if they want to make like tier 110 prayers or 105 prayers, or they want to make some like new Beast of Burdens which go out, or even further. And they've said there's going to be like ancient familiars or something with archaeology when that's released, so it would allow for them to go up to higher levels as well, and just gives them a lot more expandability, even if there's not particularly something they could put in it now. But I don't know what else. What else would you guys like to see reworked? Construction is the big one that like shouts out as something that is absolutely horrendous. I mean, they kind of did Hunter, even though it wasn't like a full rework like mining and smithing, but they kind of did Hunter in the form of bringing out Big Game Hunter, which I know a lot of people really do enjoy. It's not something I've done a lot of myself personally, but I know there are a lot of you out there that do really enjoy Big Game Hunter. So now we're moving on to second place, and this is more one that I'm looking forward to rather than hope they bring out, because it has already been announced, but it is something that I am really looking forward to, and I cannot wait for it to be released, and that is God Wars Dungeon 3. So I really hope that it kind of follows the other God Wars sort of ways, where there's, you know, the 4 easy bosses or the easier bosses, and then there's the one really hard boss. It's a shame they didn't save Next Angel of Death or something along that for this. That would have been pretty cool, but I hope that there are the 4 bosses that will be nice sort of like mid-level PVM, you know, easily soloable if you know how to and have got the right gear and everything like that, or something that you can do in a team or of like 2 or 3 man if you're a bit lower level or a bit just starting out PVM. Then you want to have one hardcore boss that is like the Telos, or like Nex was on release, which is for like the elite PVMers and stuff like that, where they'll go and it's going to have really good drops and it's going to be a very challenging boss. I'd quite like it to be something that is groupable like Nex was on release. Well, Nex still is, but no one really does it now. Rather than something like Telos where you're kind of locked into solo only. I definitely think something that is a group PVMable boss would be pretty sweet for that. I also want it to like not make the other God Wars dungeons dead content, so it can't have rewards or make GP that's so ridiculous that people don't ever want to go back to Vindicta ever again, or for example, like at the moment God Wars Dungeon is still useful, like you can still make a decent amount of money, you know, like good consistent like 2 to 3 mil an hour, which is pretty good for how easy it is, and if you're a high level you can pretty much AFK it, but for people that are just starting out on PVM, like that's pretty sweet, isn't it, going to God Wars Dungeon 1, and then you've got God Wars Dungeon 2 as the next progression from there. I hope that if they do a kill count thing again though, they really they do it more like God Wars Dungeon 2, where you can stack it all the way up to the 200 or whatever they want to make the limit, and you can go in there, whereas God Wars Dungeon 1 where you have to go get kill count, 40 kill count every single time, that is horrible. I really hope they do it the God Wars Dungeon 2 way of implementing it rather than the God Wars Dungeon 1 way of implementing it. But yeah, that's definitely something that I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully, I believe they said that's coming out summerish this year. So we can probably expect that in late autumn, realistically, because I mean they're going to be late with it. They're late on every update, but you know, as long as they do it correctly and make it worthwhile, I'm okay with that. And my number 1 here is probably an obvious choice, and I imagine a lot of you guys can see this one coming, and that is the release of Archaeology, which is probably going to be one of the first things that we actually see released, and hopefully they're not going to screw it up. Like, I really hope they don't screw it up. Like, it needs to be well thought out and have like content throughout all the levels. It's got to have useful rewards, but not like rewards that are massively OP, and they need to make it so it's not essentially dead content, if you know what I mean, like people just go and grind out the skill as quick as possible and go to 99 or 120 if it goes to 120, I'm not really sure, but they want to make it something that's enjoyable and repeatable, like Slayer. Like, how many people go to 200 mil Slayer like when they don't need to? You want to make it something that's enjoyable and rewardful, but you also need to make it so it's not a stupid XP rate. Like, I remember when Invention came out, there was like, I don't know if it was a bug, but they'd completely overlooked the fact that you could like just make gizmos or something for such mental XP, and people got like 99 and 120 like almost on day of release, and it ruined the whole new skill race for like max on the rank 1 on the high scores. Divination was a bit more enjoyable. It was, well, I wouldn't say enjoyable, it was very slow and grindy. It was like Runespan version 2 on release. But yeah, they need to make it so the XP is not like stupid, you get 1 mil XP an hour and absolute madness like that. They need to make it reasonable, but not like horrendously slow, like 60k an hour, you know. Somewhere between 2 to 300k an hour at the higher levels, I think, is a fairly okay and acceptable XP rate for a new skill, because over time it is going to get higher. Like, every time they release something new, the XP rate is going to get pushed further and further on. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my 5 things that I am looking forward to or would like to see this year. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a comment down below with things that you're looking forward to this year, or anything that you would like to see released. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.